This presentation is designed to help you prepare for doing a role play in the AQA GCSE French specification. The example is a higher role play, but the principles are the same for the foundation role play as well. There's a separate presentation on the foundation role play. Here's an example of a role play test. It's come from the specimen assessment material issued by AQA in 2016 and ready for first testing in 2018. Helpfully, the layout for every role play is the same. The instructions tell you whether your teacher's role is informal or formal. If your teacher's role is informal, for example, if they have the role of a friend, for example, you'd address them in the tu form. If your teacher's role is formal, perhaps they're taking the role of an employee in a hotel, for example, then you'd address them in the vous form. They tell you that an exclamation mark is that you will have to respond to something the teacher says, so you can't prepare for that one. And they'll tell you that when you see a question mark symbol, that means you must ask a question about the word or words which follow. When you get to doing the test, you'll be so used to seeing these instructions that you won't need to spend too much time on them. The main thing is to know how to address your teacher, so maybe you'll highlight that bit. There are always 5 bullet points, and whereas in the foundation role play you only need to say 1 sentence per bullet point, in the higher you often need to say either 2 sentences or 1 complex sentence for each bullet point. Another difference is that while the foundation never requires more than 2 tenses and actually normally has only 1, which is the present tense, the higher level always requires the use of at least 2 tenses. So let's look a bit more closely at these questions. And the first stage really is to think about what are they expecting. So this process will go quite quickly through your head when you come to do the exam, but let's take time now to think about what each bit needs. So in this example, bullet point 1, utilisation de la technologie récemment, 2 détails, use of technology recently, 2 details. It's really asking you to say what you have done and to give 2 examples in the past tense. So they're using that noun, utilisation, to indicate we want to have a verb here. And you must give 2 details. Bullet point 2, l'importance des portables et une raison, the importance of mobile phones and a reason. So there they're looking for some sort of statement and a justification, and that can mean the present tense. Bullet point 3, réseaux sociaux, un avantage, social networks, 1 advantage. So they're probably again a statement and a justification and the present tense. Skip bullet point 4, we can't do anything about that. Bullet point 5 though, we've got that question symbol, projet ce soir. Projet means plans, ce soir, this evening. So not only have you got to ask a question, but it's got to be in the future tense. Let's look a bit more closely at bullet point 1, use of technology recently. Looking for doing words and the past tense. So what could you say? You could say, I sent texts, I did my homework, I did some research, I talked with my friends. Pause the video now, and when you're ready, when you've written down those 4 sentences, when you're ready to resume, then start again, and then I'll show you the answers. Here are the answers. So, I sent texts, j'ai envoyé des textos. I did my homework, j'ai fait mes devoirs. I did research, j'ai fait des recherches. I spoke with my friends, j'ai parlé avec mes amis. So notice that this is very clearly in the past tense, and you would definitely get full marks if you managed to come out with those 2 of those. Sometimes I do recommend to people that they put in an expression of time at the beginning, so that if for any reason you mispronounced something just slightly, it would still be clear to someone listening, oh, you were talking about the past tense. But if you do that, make sure that you definitely know how to pronounce that expression of time. So here, for example, it's there, it's given to you, récemment. If you can say récemment, and you can pronounce that correctly, récemment, then use it. Otherwise, it may be that you want to say hier, for yesterday, or la semaine dernière, last week. But don't take a chance on it. If you're not sure, don't put it in at all. On to bullet point 2. So here, mobile phones, a statement and justification in the present tense. The importance of mobiles and a reason. So there you can say that always with importance one, they are important in order to do something. Phones are important in order to stay in contact with my family, in order to research, in order to take photos. So again, pause, and when you're ready, resume in order to see the answers. Answers coming up now. Les portables sont importants pour rester en contact avec ma famille, pour faire des recherches, pour prendre des photos. So that's how you say in order to do something. The word pour meaning for, and then the infinitive. So if you'd done just pour rester en contact avec ma famille, in fact, that would have given you the marks. But les portables sont importants pour rester en contact avec ma famille would be a superb answer. So remember, anything about the importance of something, and you do get those quite a lot, you get them also in the higher writing as well, you can use that expression pour plus the infinitive, and it does impress people. On to bullet point 3. So this asks for an advantage, and any question about an advantage you can normally start with saying what you can do, because if you've got something then you can do something, if you haven't then you can't. So I can, and then the infinitive. So for example, I can speak with my friends, I can share photos online, I can keep in contact with my family. Again, pause, write those down, and when you're ready for the answers, then resume. Answers coming up. So, un avantage c'est que, you could put in, advantage is that, un avantage c'est que, je peux parler avec mes amis, I can speak with my friends, literally I am able to speak with my friends. Je peux partager mes photos en ligne, I can share my photos online, or I am able to share my photos online. Je peux rester en contact avec ma famille, I am able to stay in contact with my family. Okay, we can't prepare for bullet point 4, so let's go on to 5. This is the one we've got to ask the questions about the plans in the evening. Bullet point 5 then, this asks you to ask a question. I think the one that they obviously want you to ask is, what are you going to do this evening? So projet ce soir, plans this evening. For this, it shows that you can ask a question and you can use the future tense. But in this particular case, if you were really stuck, I reckon you could get away with, do you have plans for this evening? Pause, translate both of these, then resume to see if you were right. I'm about to show the answers. So, what are you going to do this evening? Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire ce soir? Literally, what is it that you are going to do this evening? Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire ce soir? Or, do you have plans for this evening? Est-ce que tu as des projets pour ce soir? Est-ce que, is it that? Tu as, you have, des projets, plans pour ce soir, for this evening. Est-ce que tu as des projets pour ce soir? Okay. Now let's go over this, but with a different set of prompts and see how you do. So a reminder, that's how we approached this particular one. Now here's another one, and I've just put things in a different order. I'm going to pause now. I'd like you to write down, what would you put for bullet point 1, 2, 3 and 5? What sort of statement, question, justification? You put in the words that they're looking for each one. Okay, I'm about to show you what I would suggest. And here we are. So for the first one, utilisation des réseaux sociaux, projet de détail. There it's obviously activities they're looking for. And it's projet, so it's the future tense they want there. Bullet point 2, importance de la technologie et une raison. They're looking for a statement and justification. And the present tense. Bullet point 3, mobile phones, an advantage, so that is going to be a statement and justification and the present tense. And then finally, bullet point 5 is obviously a question, an activity, but importantly, yesterday evening. Let's look at bullet point 1 then. What could you say? So 2 activities, future tense. It could be, I'm going to upload photos, I'm going to chat with my friends. Pause the video, write down what you think the French is for that, and when you're ready, resume to see the answers. Answers coming up. So, I'm going to upload or download photos is the same. Je vais télécharger des photos. I'm going to speak with my friends. Je vais parler avec mes amis. I've got a feeling I might have said to chat with my friends, and that would have been bavarder. B-A-V-A-R-D-E-R. Could have been right there. Je vais bavarder avec mes amis, ou je vais parler avec mes amis. What about bullet point 2? That's the importance of technology, a reason. It could be technology is important in order to do shopping, in order to do research, in order to send mails. Can you remember what the expression was? In order to do something. Pause, write down those 3 sentences. Actually, write down technology is important as well. And when you're ready, then resume to see the answers. Answers coming up. La technologie est importante pour faire des achats, pour faire des recherches, pour envoyer des emails. There's a mistake there, by the way. It should have been, you could have des mails or des emails. That was meant to be a bracket. On to the next one. Bullet point 3. An advantage for mobile phones. What could you say? An advantage is that I can speak with my friends when I want to. I can keep in contact with my family all the time. So pause, and when you're ready, resume to see the answers. Answers coming up. Un avantage, c'est que je peux parler avec mes amis quand je veux. Je peux rester en contact avec ma famille tout le temps. So it's that I am able to speak. Je peux parler, infinitive. Je peux rester, I can stay. And on to bullet point 5, asking a question, this time in the past tense. Before it was the future, now it's the past tense. So activity yesterday evening, either what did you do yesterday evening, or possibly what activity did you do yesterday evening. I think the first one is probably the easier one. So pause, write down what you think it is, and when you're ready, resume. Answers coming up. So first of all, on the right hand side, what did you do yesterday evening? It could be tu as fait quoi hier soir? Better is qu'est-ce que tu as fait hier soir? What is it that you did yesterday evening? Qu'est-ce que tu as fait hier soir? Or you could do that clever little inversion. Qu'as-tu fait hier soir? Qu'as-tu fait hier soir? So any of those, but really probably number 2 and number 3 are the best ones. Or if you'd use the which activity did you do yesterday? Tu as fait quelle activité hier soir? Quelle activité est-ce que tu as fait hier soir? Quelle activité as-tu fait hier soir? Again, tu as fait quelle activité hier soir? Quelle activité est-ce que tu as fait hier soir? Ou quelle activité as-tu fait hier soir? Doesn't sound as natural really as the right hand side one, but I thought sometimes if you see that word activité, you might think, well, at least you get something that way. The unprepared question. Okay, you'll do a lot of practice in asking questions, and once you know how to ask questions, you'll not find this section too difficult. The main thing is to listen very carefully. You can always ask for it to be repeated with répétez s'il vous plaît. So here's what the unexpected question is for our example. Listen, pause, then continue to see if you are right. It would be good as well as knowing what the question is, can you think up what sort of answer you might have given? Here it comes. Quand vas-tu sur Facebook? Pour combien de temps? So there are 2 parts in that. I'll say it again. Quand vas-tu sur Facebook? Pour combien de temps? When you're ready, pause, then resume to see the answers. Answers coming up. Did you get it? So, quand vas-tu sur Facebook? Literally, when go you on Facebook? So, when do you go on Facebook? Pour combien de temps? Literally, for how much of time? For how long? So, your answer could have been, for example, every day for 2 hours or once a week for 5 minutes. So, could you now pause and at least write those down, and in a moment when you're ready, resume and we'll see what the answers are. Answers coming up. Every day would be tous les jours for 2 hours pour 2 heures. Once a week would be une fois par semaine for 10 minutes pour 10 minutes. And finally, here's the mark scheme. It's actually exactly the same description as for the foundation, but the demand of the task is greater, as you've seen. You've got the 2 elements which you have to do for each bullet point, and you've also got to be able to do different tenses. But if you can provide those tenses, they can be provided quite simply. Even if you say them in a clear way, you communicate this message clearly, you can get full marks in this section. So finally, I hope that the presentation has helped you. You'll have lots of practice in doing this, and the more you know what to expect in the exam, the more you can focus on effective preparation and performance once you get there. Bonne chance!